By purchasing this DVD, you are supporting the UK film industry. Thank you.
I can tell you like it.
I love it. It's perfect. About the deposit?
I'll agree to waive all the deposit stuff. You just give me the first month's down, we'll call it a day, all right? It's hard coming up with all that money, isn't it?
It's gonna work out.
You're not the one with $84 in her bank account and I checked her right on Monday.
You know what you should do?
Hi. I'm calling in regards to the babysitter flyer posted outside my dorm.
The night's big eclipse is now well underway.
I feel a little weird just dropping you out here, like in the middle of wherever we are.
You have to forgive me, Samantha, because I've not been completely honest.
We're from the desert, you know.
You see, we actually don't have a child.
They lied to you.
I know.
They're liars.
Okay, I know you're right. But it's $400. This equals first month's rent and then some, and all I have to do is sit inside and watch TV. This is huge. This one night changes everything for me.
Here we go.
Are you not the babysitter?
Oh my God!
Talk to me, Lord. Talk to me.
To you. Divine music. You cannot show that you have been acting in good faith. God have mercy on you.
Well, the origin of the story came about when I was invited to the Channel Islands back in November 2009. I was invited by the Guernsey Cine Club to go and show my short film, Ill Girl. And I was interviewed by the local Guernsey press. One of the questions they asked me was, did you know anything about the Channel Islands history of witchcraft and werewolves? So as a horror film director, straight away that sparked a bit of interest there. And then when I was flying out of Guernsey, there was really bad weather, so the flight was delayed. So the person who was taking me to the airport took me for a quick spin around the island, and I'd been there quite a few times before, and I'd seen a lot of these German concrete bunkers. But she drove me up to this one huge, great big, imposing tower, and I took one look at it and thought, wow, that looks like the setting for a horror film, and promptly leapt out the car in the wind and rain and snapped off a couple of photos with my mobile phone. Back in England, I've been trying to get a feature film off the ground for several years. And was finding it very frustrating trying to raise the finance, and I got to the point where I thought, right, I'm just going to fund it myself, maybe remortgage my house, the one thing you're never supposed to do, put your own money in. And on the kind of budget I was looking at, you're really talking of 2 people in a single room. Something like David Slade's Hard Candy or Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat. So it's all very contained. And I went back to all my Channel Islands research and started learning all about the commando raids there, the German occupation, and then looked more into the witchcraft and found out about these bad books, the grimoires, which are supposed to be part of Channel Islands mythology. And these are books of witchcraft dating back to the Middle Ages. And I just started writing this story around basically these 3 characters, a German, a demon, and an Allied soldier. With the idea that the Germans have found one of these books of witchcraft, books of black magic, summoned up a demon, which has promptly slaughtered everyone apart from one surviving soldier who's managed to trap it. And then into the story comes our commando. He thinks that the German has slaughtered his whole crew, and he's got this woman tied up and he's been raping her, and he got jealous, and that's why he's killed everyone. And the German has to try and convince the soldier that actually, no, the woman that I've got tied up is a demon from hell, and you have to help me send her back to hell, basically. And that was the genesis of the story, really.
My first few memories of working on the Devil's Rock was dictating the first few drafts of the script into my dictaphone while taking long walks with my Labrador over a very snowy Christmas up here in the north of England. And it's funnily enough, I felt quite isolated. I mean, you always feel isolated at that stage of pre-production because it's just you, and you don't feel as if it's actually going to happen.
Then we brought in Brett E. Harker. The script had got to a point where it needed some fresh eyes, and Brett just came in and did some tweaks mainly to the first act, and went through and trimmed out a lot of the dialogue as well, because there was a huge amount of dialogue. And really just brought that fresh pair of eyes that you need when you've been staring at the script over and over and you can't really see how you can improve it yourself. In May 2010, I went back to Channel Islands, back to Guernsey, to do as much research as I could on all the German fortifications and the real bunkers, and I went around as many of these as I could and shot as much reference footage and photographs as I could.
Yeah, it's actually quite small. All the rooms are much smaller than we're going to make the set. But this gives you a good idea of what the inside of one of these really looks like.
While I was there, I think it was in one of the fortifications, because some of these have been restored. The guy who was running it told me that there was going to be some ghost hunters coming to Guernsey, trying to find the ghost of a German soldier who was apparently in a building, some kind of big building, stately home or something, somewhere on the island. So all these paranormal investigators were coming over, and there was going to be a seance, and it all sounded a bit crazy. But later that night, I went out to the fortification MP4 to get some photos to see what it would actually look like at night. And MP4 is out in the middle of nowhere. There's just surrounded by fields. There's no light there whatsoever. It's right on the edge of the cliff, and I had to kind of climb down some cliffs to get in the right position to photograph it. My friends in Channel Islands were quite worried that I was going to disappear off the edge of the cliff at night. And I was sitting out there at night, and the sun was going down, and it was getting dark, and all I kept thinking of was this seance that's going on in the island. And here I am by this German bunker that I'm going to make a horror film about.
Oh, it's 8:30 at night. Sun's gone down, and I've got to say, it's bloody creepy out here on your own.
So I'm a big fan of prosthetic makeup. So the first thing we did was go to Weta Workshop with our lead actress Gina Varela to get a head cast. I haven't been through it myself, but it's supposed to be quite a strange experience where you're completely covered in dental alginate and then plaster. It's supposed to feel like complete sensory deprivation, but what you get is a perfect head cast of your actor or actress. And apparently it's quite a good way to find out if the actor is going to be able to cope with the prosthetics as well. If they struggle to get through the head casting process, then they might have problems wearing lots of makeup for hours on end.
There you go. Yeah, drop it forward.
Amazing.
Yeah, good on you.
That was like big in space or something.
So,
that was a phenomenal experience.
yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I really enjoyed it. It was like being in space or something.
Yeah, it's total sensory deprivation.
Yeah.
We're in Wellington. It's pissing down with rain. It's been pissing down with rain for 3 days now. And we're going to leave this nice warm dry car and go through the rain and into some dark, cold, wet tunnels to go and look at the possible locations for the tunnels. It's okay, it's not...
thanks for filming!
It's nice and warm inside. Warm and dry.
Funny.
Hey.
We went on endless trips into Wrights Hill tunnels, trying to find the locations in there and just figure out our way around those tunnels.
I've been here before.
Shit, I'm actually lost. Looking around at various other locations in the area. Then we had production meetings with our heads of department. We were on tech recce's at Breaker Bay and back to Wrights Hill again. And the whole purpose of a tech recce is to just work out how you're going to shoot there, how you're going to get your vehicles in there, how you're going to get your equipment. Is there any electricity, any toilets, catering? All these issues have to be worked out in advance. And then we were straight into set building. It started, I think, about a week or two before production. A couple of weeks later, we were ready to shoot.
So here we have one of the bad books from Channel Islands folklore. Working with Paul's Designs, we put together this book based around a delightful copy of Little Women that we picked up from a second-hand bookshop. So obviously we will be replacing some pages in the long run. And we've just stretched leather over the top of that and laser etched these designs. That gives a really nice effect that's very similar to a brand. So this is a pouch option for the character Maya that holds a page out of here, we're going to add some hairs, so that potentially, you know, it's come from a certain part of the anatomy, or, you know, like someone sort of shaved a scalp or something and made it out of that. Or a testicle, you know, whichever way you want to go. I mean, it's kind of leaning towards that anyway, isn't it?
Paul, the movie director, approached me, and he was quite keen to find some sort of a kayak that he could use as a World War II military kayak for a movie he's making. I said, although I've retired from kayak building, I could possibly give it a go. Working from a pretty simple diagram and some information that Paul gave me, I just went ahead and eyeballed it. So it only has to float for 2 hours, and the shell of garden centre plastic, well, it seems a little bit, I don't know, Kiwiana, is robust enough to easily allow us 2 hours of paddling, if not more, and it'll be covered on the plastic covering will give it its inherent flotation, stop it from sinking, and it'll be covered with canvas to make it look more authentic. And so that'll probably be camouflaged and painted in matte colours.
It's really nice when you're working on stuff this size to have a beautiful day to work in the backyard. Wellington winter is giving it up for a couple of days anyway.
It's been full.
Yeah, it's been good. And we've just made a couple more crates for dressing, and we're just working on the furniture in the middle of the room.
Yeah, this is the demon girl. So at the moment I've just had to cut the forehead and the cheeks off the sculpture, so at the moment I'm just trying to build up the cheeks again, because the cheeks and the forehead are going to be separate pieces, so yeah, just trying to match up my sculpture. So yeah, and we've just started on the on making all our body parts and bits and pieces with Don and Brian.
Bloody leg stumps. I'm doing the bit where the dude gets his head ripped off, so you get to see what's inside a human neck.
Paul's been great because he sort of knows exactly what he's after, and coming from a design background as well, he's quite sort of specific about, you know, the look of things and what he's after, which is good because you get nice direct feedback. You know, he can tell you exactly what he's wanting. And he's sort of jumped in there as well and done a bit of sculpting and hacking things away for me.
Gina passed the head casting process with flying colours, and then we did one full makeup test because we knew the makeup was going to take possibly up to 5 or 6 hours to apply. She had to have all these prosthetic pieces applied to her head, to her feet, to her hands. We had these what were supposed to be wing stumps on her back, and all these scars, and then she had to be body painted head to foot with red tattoo ink. I think the first makeup test did take something like 6 hours, but once they've done it once they've had a dry run, then they can go through, and they know on set they can probably bring that down by a few hours.
Look up.
Amazing.
there. It's first full day on set with all the camera and lighting and grip. And we got wardrobe guys, makeup tests, camera tests, and just general extreme busyness today. Boys, Jesus. That's our Schmeiser MP3 from Maya. Grogan's commando knife, rubber one. It's for Muller being stabbed with the neck. Luger. Tommy gun. And that's for, that's a Mauser, I think, Jonathan King. Blowing his brains out. I'll make sure I get the spelling right. They used to call me the illiterate artist at school because I'd paint some letters and then all words and then realise that I'd actually misspelt it, but it was too late.
I wanted to put a camera just up here.
How high is up there?
Well, not too high, not way up there, but just sort of up above these characters.
Cool. Hey, how you doing? Hello. Hey. How are you? Good.
So that's what they would have worn. That's a skip hat.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit like a Smurf.
Yeah.
For the costumes, we've done quite a lot of research, particularly on the special boat service, and I had a very particular look that I wanted for these commandos. Tristan McCallan really wanted these, I think they're called staff hats. They're genuine World War II hats. These were the real deal, and this is what commandos did wear. But to me, they just looked like Smurfs. They had this little pointy bit on the top, and I couldn't help thinking that it just looked like Smurf.
I like the cap. I think the cap makes the whole look, actually.
Yeah, so
yes.
Smurf hat.
Something about this.
Yeah.
The cap. Right.
It's got a little Dr. Seuss kind of that twirl. That's sort of
antenna.
Yeah, see, if you go through the whole film looking like that, it's just...
It's a bit, yeah, it's very, very Bruce Willis, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll never see those braces?
Well, we've got a fight.
Yeah, just because I've got police and fireman written on them.
Tell you what, I'll just fix it for the moment.
This is...
A Nazi, an SS wedding ring.
This is a replica, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
yep.
no.
You're happy with your plan into the whole...
Yeah, doing the way through the point.
That's straightforward. Yeah.
There is a slight knack to it.
Yeah, which would be good to know.
Yeah.
Do you want to show me that, Nick?
Go that way on the grayscale and
Actually,
then
no, give me 2 hours.
sights again. So go side by side. And mark please. Action.
Cool, okay. Do you want to...
What we could do, you two both of you together now if you like. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Slide forward, take one.
And mark please. Set.